Good morning. It's Friday, December 12th. I'm Phil Streible, Chief Market Strategist at Blue Line Futures. So gold and silver, they are extending their gains overnight. And if you haven't done so already, please register for our weekly outlook in the description below called Navigating the Week Ahead. It's going to provide you with some insights and observations on key commodities such as gold, silver, U.S. equities, interest rates, volatility, and also the dollar. So you look at silver overnight, making new contract highs, 64.94 and a half. And you do have gold jumping $57 to 43.70. Playing a bit of catch up. So you look at the ETF flows here. Gold exchange-backed traded funds have risen every month this year except May. Meanwhile, silver is surging on investment demand as well as tightness and dislocations across major trading hubs such as Shanghai and London. You look at the precious metals complex right now, it's broadening out the rally. So we're seeing platinum shooting up about 3.5% at 1770. You have the copper market running into some resistance at 550, but it's really, you start to look at palladium, you look at platinum, and you look at the rally here across the whole precious metals complex. So looking at the U.S. equity markets, a bit of softness here after reaching that fresh record high yesterday. And you've got signs of a rotation is evident here as the rally continues to broaden. Now, Broadcom is dropping in the pre-market here, so there's a bit of pressure under that AI trade. You look at the S&P 500 down about 0.2%. NASDAQ down about 0.5%. Really, all the strength has gone into the Russell 2000 here, edging higher and the only one green on the screen. Goldman Sachs in 2026 looks for a 10% upside move in the S&P 500, and they're forecasting about 12% earnings per share growth. You look at the interest rate expectations. So you want to look at that January CME's Fed Watch tool, and we saw a big jump in expectations overnight. Markets are now anticipating about a 26.6% likelihood that the Fed will cut 25 basis points in January. We won't have any economic data here today, but we will have three Fed speakers out in discussion with Fed's Paulson, Hammock, Goolsbee, all scheduled to speak. You'll get the dollar index, big drop overnight here and into from yesterday to today's session, down to about 98.11 here. You got the euro currency edging higher at 117.24. Essentially, the dollar has gone back into a bear trend. The euro currency has gone into a bullish trend. And you'll get 10-year treasury yield sitting at about 4.18%. There was a lot of discussion about whether or not the Fed was dovish, hawkish, what kind of commentary was there. Really, I look at that buying here at the short end of the curve, those treasury bills buying here is anchoring the short end of the curve. And what's happening is this robust growth is steepening the yield curve and it's going higher here. So you look at the 10-year treasury yields, really a new range here between 4.10% and 4.22%. You look at the VIX, dropping down here 1617. You got Bitcoin back to a bit of a risk on 92,500, making a higher low on the charts, and the S&P 500 gamma exposure remains positive. You go to Europe and Asia here. Well, European benchmarks, they rose above that November closing record. Asian stocks climbing here with the MSCI Asia Pacific Index jumping 1.3% here, lifting its gauge to the highest close in a month here, and all sectors were in the green. You go to the ETF flows, which have been a major driver in the precious metals here. Well, they bought all four: gold, silver, platinum, and palladium, with gold jumping 0.4%, with year-to-date total ETFs rising 18% here. Biggest one-day jump since October 21st. I've been talking about how insignificant the buys have been in the gold market. And I think after this consolidation, now we're starting to see a new breakout to the upside, and the possibility for new all-time highs remains ahead here. So you look at silver, those year-to-date ETF flows have risen 19%. So that's going to be your highest level you've seen, with the ETFs adding about 3.6 million ounces of silver, and palladium's holdings, those increasing for the 7th straight day. Gold-silver ratio is sitting at about 67-1. And if you guys like to open up a futures trading account, it takes about 5-10 minutes here. And remember that futures and option trading involves risk of loss, may not be suitable to all investors. Shoot us an email at info@bluelinefutures.com. If you need anything else, we'd love to hear from you. Good luck, good trading. Have a great weekend.